Hey guys, we're the Home Girls.
My name's Jillian.
My name is Sharon.
And I'm Fatima.
Welcome to our podcast where we help you navigate your life the Home Girls way.
We're three young women in real estate looking to take this industry by storm.
And don't worry, this is not just another real estate podcast. We're going to be talking about life, love, play, work, and everything in between.
So thanks for tuning in to our first episode. We're hoping that we just give all of our viewers and listeners the opportunity to get to know who we are, where we're coming from, and where we're hoping to be. So let's dive right in.
All right, let's talk about early life.
Oh my God, like, what do you want to know? Like, it's pretty wild.
I want to know all your dirty secrets.
Oh God, you know, there's a ton. Yeah, no, like, I feel like I had, like, your classic childhood, like, parents divorced at 2, moved around every year, had siblings from hell.
Oh boy.
Love them now.
Yeah, we all know that,
Yeah.
right?
Love them now, like, they're great now. But yeah, like, from the hop, like, just a little bit of, like, hecticness and craziness. Like, what about you guys?
Well, I don't know where to begin. So maybe Fatima, you're oldest. Let's start there.
Let's see. I think a little bit kind of like you, Jill.
Yeah.
Siblings from hell, us being 4 kids, and
Yeah.
then 5th one being born when I was 13.
Yeah, she was a second mom.
Essentially,
Essentially,
exactly.
yeah.
So that was crazy. But yeah, just like big family vibes.
Yeah.
Lots of fighting between us as siblings, but also lots of good memories and
A lot of
having
love.
kind of best friends right within our family.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like, I remember, like, you know, like, my siblings and I getting in the biggest fights. Like,
Oh my God.
like,
right?
I remember, like, specifically always falling off my brother's bunk bed. He had his own fucking room. Like, he lived, like, by himself. Me and my twin sister shared, but he had a bunk bed, like, God knows why. And I remember, like, my siblings repeatedly, we would always, like, push each other off the top bunk, and we'd fall on our backs. We'd get so
Oh my God.
winded, like, just get the wind knocked out of you. I feel like I haven't had that since I was, like, 8.
I feel like who didn't have experiences like that with bunk beds? I remember my brother, he's older than me, but I almost said little because he always feels younger than me. He was obsessed with WWE and
Oh my God.
flew off this top bunk
On
right
purpose?
onto my foot and broke my pinky toe.
Oh my
who
God.
breaks their pinky toe?
Oh my God.
You probably have to wear a boot walking
I
around
did.
lugging it around.
I had a full cast all the way up to my knee.
Oh
You know
my
what's-
God, that's crazy.
Speaking of bunk beds, I actually had one. It was one of my first beds I used to share with my little brother. We shared a room at the time, and I remember I was sleeping at the top, so I was like a year older. So I was like, this is mine. I live at the top. And you know what? Every morning for like the first couple weeks, I would fall off of the bed. I'm not even joking.
Oh my
I don't know
goodness.
why I wasn't injured, but just wake up and I roll out of bed and I'm like on the ground. I wake up on the ground half the time. I don't know why. I
And
didn't
your
wake
fall
up in the
didn't
middle of
wake
the
you
night.
up.
No, that's the crazy part. I was like, did like an angel bless me as I like gracefully
Cushioned you.
fell?
Oh my
Yeah, it was
God.
so bizarre, but
So I actually had that, like, experience too. I was, like, falling off my bunk bed all the time. Like, same thing. I had the top bunk. And for whatever reason, like, the bunk bed that my mom had gotten us, like, didn't have, like, the rails on it.
On
So
the
you,
side.
like, literally could just fall right off of it. So she ended up having to go out and, like, buy, like, one that you could, like, attach after the fact to, like, save my life. Because I was, like, falling off the bed and eating shit, like, every
Oh
night.
my
But it was waking
goodness.
me up. And I was like, oh my God. I
Okay, at
can't
least you
live
woke
like
up.
this.
I can't
At least you're
imagine
eating.
Oh my God. I remember too, like, my sister and I had bunk beds for a while, and one particular bunk bed we had, it was so freaking dope. I always had the top bunk, but the top bunk had a slide, and then the bottom bunk, she had, like, curtains.
that is straight out of a movie.
I like that.
That
It
is
was
it's
straight
dope.
It was awesome. And I remember we had a cat that had kittens, and this is like, oh my God, those poor things. Like, we would, like, put them down the slide with us, and those, I'm sure they were terrified. But we thought it was
Traumatized.
so cute
Oh.
because we were like 10.
Oh my God. So did you guys have any horrible like school experiences growing up?
A couple.
Yeah, I think I had tons. I mean, being immigrants coming to Canada and then the spelling of my name.
Oh,
my
yeah.
parents didn't put an I or an E. Pronounced Fatima, but it's not there. Goodness, kids in North America in general are just a totally different breed of children than back home.
Yeah.
So they just went to town. I mean, my nickname, I turned it actually into a positive, and it was my superhero name, and it was Fat Man Salami. That
Oh my
was
God.
my
Oh
superhero
my God.
nickname. So yeah, at least I was able to twist it, but I still remember how cruel kids could be.
Jesus Christ.
Honestly, that's, I can only imagine.
Yeah. We laugh about it now, though.
Yeah. Oh, God bless.
Oh
What
my
about you
God.
guys?
I remember this one girl I went to school with. Like, I don't know. It was like one of those like things where it was like so hot and cold. Like she was like best friends, and then we were in some massive fight, and like I never had any idea what was going on. But I remember like probably like the worst altercation of my youth.
Okay, yeah. It's very poetic here.
She was like one of those girls who it was so hot and cold. Like one day we're best friends, the next day like we hate each other, and I was like, what the fuck is going on? Like
Toxic.
Yeah.
I'm so toxic, right? Like from like such a young age. And I remember like she borrowed something of mine,
Oh,
like a top or a sweater or something, and at school one day I was like, oh hey, like do you still have that? She's like, yeah, for sure. And I'm like, can you please just like bring it to school for me tomorrow? And she's like, okay, yeah. And she like turns around and walks away, and this other girl that I was with, her name's Emily, calls this girl a bitch for no fucking reason. Like they had like major beef, like for no reason. Like we're like 9, and this girl, like my friend, turns around and slaps me in the face, thinking that I was the one who said it to
no.
her, not realizing it was my friend. And she starts like swearing at me. She's like, who do you think you are? I'm like, dude, we're like 9 or 10 right now. Like this is a little much
Not
for
okay.
me. And she slaps me again, so I punched her in the fucking head.
Oh my God.
We got in like this massive
oh my
fight.
God.
And I remember like we got sent to the principal's office, and literally, like I kid you not, the principal's solution was to like make us walk back to class together holding hands.
Oh my God. That's the
That
best.
is,
I love that.
I can imagine having all this pent up anger from this
Yeah.
situation, and then having to hold hands.
Yeah, and like my biggest frenemy just punched me in the face, and I have to hold her hand now. Like that's how you're fixing conflict with
Oh my
like
God.
10-year-olds. Like it
So
was
was he
crazy.
like, oh, why are you guys acting like this? You're supposed to be friends, that type of
Yeah,
situation?
like basically they're like, oh my God, we know you guys are friends. I'm like, well, she just punched me in the face. And she's like, well, you call me a bitch. I'm like, Emily called you a bitch. Like
Not Jillian.
like I was not involved, and like you dragged me into that. Like she was crazy. I mean, she was a hoot, you know. But she was
Did
crazy.
you guys end up making up?
I feel like for like the rest of the school year, like we were in class together, but
Just civil.
yeah, I haven't seen her in ages.
Shout out to Emily. Honestly, just
Yeah.
Yeah.
living it up out there.
Emily's a bad bitch.
So, well, speaking of like best friends or friends, acquaintances, I guess, in your situation, and like bad experiences in school, like I had a girl, I thought I was best friends with her, not naming any names, but she would like steal guys that I had crushes on. She would actually steal my stuff, my books. She would break into my locker and steal my stuff. It was really bizarre.
What a psycho.
And my mom even warned me about her. And you know, moms always know
Yeah.
best. And even as a child, like when your mom tells you that stuff, you're like, no, mom, that's my best friend, leave me alone. Like you don't register that stuff
yeah.
until you go home crying after they stole your fucking DS.
Oh my goodness, your
Yeah,
DS.
like she's
Your DS?
yeah, she stole all my stuff out of my locker, stealing stuff like left and right. Back then that was devastating. In like grade 6, that was
You had a
some wild
locker in
stuff.
grade 6?
Yeah, you didn't? Where did you go to
No.
school?
I went to Clarksdale.
What, did you have a fucking cubby? Were you in
Yeah. So okay,
Was
so
it kindergarten and grade 8?
it was kindergarten and grade
Okay.
6, and then I went to a different school for grade 7 and 8. But the school I went to for 7 and 8 was like kindergarten to 8, and only the 7 and 8s had lockers.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? We were a kindergarten to grade 8 school as well, but we had lockers. Like,
Mine
don't
was
know.
just like a regular middle school, 6 to 8.
oh,
Yeah.
my
I
God.
actually went to one of those as well. It was quite interesting.
Yeah, so like those were really common in Ottawa, like where like because my ex like same thing, and I was like, what the fuck, like that's so weird. So did any of you guys work while you were in high school?
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Like, since actually this summer before grade 9, I got my first job because everybody had a phone. Everyone was texting. I felt so left out. And my family was like, no, we're not buying you a phone. You have to fucking work for it. So I was like, okay, you know what? I think it was one of the greatest decisions I ever made, even though it was for like such a superficial reason for to be able to afford a phone, because I learned so many life skills, and I don't know where I would be today if I had not worked all these jobs since I was 14 basically. And safe to say my first job was quite interesting, especially working throughout high school, but I definitely think it was quite gratifying. I learned so much, I went through a lot, and I feel like it toughened me up as a person.
For sure. I'm right there with you. I also got my first job summer of grade 9. So I can totally resonate, like working from that age, and also while you're in high school. I mean, a lot of your friends either work really minimal hours or don't work at all. I actually had full-time hours since grade 11. So it just toughens you up. You see the world differently, like almost instantly, not even waiting until you're 18, 19, sometimes until your 20s. And then also having a lot of crazy stories. I think we can all agree on that.
Yeah, we'll save that for another episode, guys. Stay tuned. We have lots of crazy stories, right?
Yeah,
It's insane.
Like, we all started off in like customer service too, right? Like my first job was at McDonald's, and like
me too.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Mine was at Swiss Chalet. My brother was actually my manager. Fun story.
I hate that. I did work with my older brother and my twin sister.
It's cute.
At my first job.
The whole family.
Yeah.
I actually worked with my little brother too. It's kind of a little bit of a family affair, which was pretty cute. We would all get in the car together and go home together at night. It was super cute.
I remember like being in the career room with my siblings, like usually my sister, and like waiting around for my mom to come get us, and like it'd be an hour and a half after my shift. She'd be like, "Oh my god, I'm at an open house. I'm at a showing. I'm doing an offer presentation. I'm like, I'll be there soon." I'm like, "Girl, like come get your children. We're like 14." Like every single time. Like, oh my god, it was so funny.
Crew Room Chronicles. That's what you should have called it.
Yeah, I was like, wait a second, what's a crew? Because but like it's a McDonald's thing, I guess. Like I wasn't part of the club. Sounds like a freaking cult.
Yeah, literally.
It's where all the cool employees hang out.
Oh, okay, sure. I don't know about that. Swiss Chalet was pretty cool. I stayed there for like quite a long time.
Yeah.
But you know what? Working at a restaurant, especially as your first job, you get fat.
Oh
I
gained
like 15 pounds working at McDonald's.
50% off. A McDouble or a junior chicken
Really?
at that time came to 50 cents.
That's
wild. I was swallowing them.
was
and in high school too. It's so like it's like detrimental.
Yeah,
like
like
gaining
when
weight at that
you're-
age.
Yeah, like I like literally. Oh my god, I remember my mom was always like, "Oh my god, Jill, you're so fucking fat." I'm like, "Girl, like get out of my pant size, please." Like, but like I remember being like, "That bitch, right?"
Right, looking in the mirror, she's like,
but sometimes they're right.
you're like yelling at your mom. You're like, you don't know what you're talking about. You go in the mirror. You're like, maybe she's right.
I'm like, "Oh yeah, I gained like I definitely went up a pant size." Like,
Yeah, and you're at your skinniest too, and you're like, look at all this fat, and you're like trying to pinch your skin.
oh my god, if I could go back to like when I was like 16 and thought I was fat.
Honestly,
Yeah.
But
I looked
realistically,
so hot.
Couldn't we all?
honestly, the body image we had at that age is just ridiculous. But
Yeah.
and I think it's so much more worse for kids these days
Yeah,
with like
with
social
social
media
media.
and everything like that. Have you guys seen that documentary? I think it was called it just flew over my head, but it pretty much talks about the negative aspects of like social media and how they track you and how they put all these things in front of you, and it affects your mental health and your image of yourself.
Yeah.
I wish I could remember the name of the documentary.
Yeah, I haven't seen that shit, but like I 100% believe it. Like literally having an influx of information 24/7, an influx of like what celebrities are doing, like, oh, my life looks so cool, and like that's the thing, you don't see people's real lives.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right? You're seeing like the best version of it, and then you're getting like FOMO, and you're like,
Oh my
I'm not
gosh,
doing
yeah.
cool things, I'm not as rich, like whatever, I'm not as good looking, blah blah blah, even though everyone's face tuned to fucking hell.
Yeah.
And it's just like creating all these issues for so many different people, like viewing things and like feeling like that's reality, and like they're missing out, but it's like such a misconception.
Yeah. And I mean, even just thinking about it, I only got social media recently. So I mean, I used to have it before, and then I cut out cold turkey and didn't have it for years. I mean, over like almost 5 years, or even close to 6.
That's
And
really
then
interesting.
and then going back on it, and it was my first time on Instagram, and just
Oh my god.
you scroll it oh. Sorry guys, I just got tongue twisted. It like customizes that little search button thingy.
Yeah.
Sorry, I can't stop laughing. For things that you almost want to see but subconsciously don't, and then it's just messing with you. And then if you're start looking at things that are negative, and then everything in your search or everything on your feed is being catered towards that, you just go down like a really dark spiral.
It's interesting because I feel like it's such a huge marketing tactic, not only just because it's advertising people and lifestyles, but things as well, because when people feel like they lack something, that's kind of where those companies come in, and they're like, well, we have this cream for your lack of skin or lack of whatever. Well, you know what I mean, like you feel like you're missing something if you have like acne, or you have like self-image issues, or lifestyle, like you want to up your lifestyle and feel better about yourself, your clothes, whatever.
All I could think about was like no skin.
So I have a special way of describing things. I hope you guys enjoy it.
It's so like descriptive and artistic. I could listen to it all day.
I'm quite the poet, aren't I?
You really are.
You know what though? I do think it speaks to Sharon's point, because I think if anyone was to convince you need more skin, it would be done through Instagram.
Honestly, it's the most ridiculous things. Like, you could have an ad put in front of you that was gravitated towards your wants, your needs, or even things that you feel like you lack in, and it could be the most ridiculous commercial, and you'll still end up making that late night purchase.
How fucking crazy are the targeted ads on Instagram? Like, I remember I used to just like with my ex-boyfriend, I used to just like sit by his phone and just like say words, and then he'd be like,
Yeah.
why am I getting all these advertisements
Yeah.
for like engagement rings or like
I was gonna
chocolate?
ask, is that were you like whispering engagement
Yeah,
rings,
literally
princess
just
cut
for fun
to your phone?
I didn't even want to marry this motherfucker, but like all the time I'd be like engagement rings.
Listen, she's the queen of manifesting something but not fucking following through with it.
I don't want it. I just think it'd be funny. Like,
And
honestly.
I mean, speaking of stories for more episodes to come.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we've got
We
some
have
about those
so
too.
many. There's so much more. There's only so much we can mention in this episode. As you watch more episodes, you're going to be able to learn even more about us. We're going to be focusing on different topics and things
Yeah.
like that, and it's going to be awesome. We have so many crazy stories.
Facts. Like nothing but stories.
Nothing
like
but stories.
this week alone.
Just this week alone for Jillian.
5 days with Jillian is like
It's like
a
an
lifetime
eternity.
for someone
Honestly.
else.
Yeah.
Like, she would put Keeping Up with Kardashians to shame. The amount of juice and drama in her life. Incredible.
Never a dull moment, and as your therapist once said, always the main character.
Honestly, like like literally a month ago, she said this to me. I was telling her about my first date with my ex, who I dated for like 3.5 years. We were 19 at the time, and like our first date, like we went on like a skate at the canal. I was like visiting a friend in Ottawa.
So romantic.
And then our second date, I invited this motherfucker that I had like just met.
Is
to
this
go
the
to-
same guy?
Yeah,
Okay.
Ryan.
Let's make sure.
She's name dropping.
Oh, well.
Oh, no.
It's fine.
I'll blur it out. Don't worry. You
But,
didn't hear nothing.
But yeah, so our first date, like we went skating in the canal. Like he was from Ottawa, I'm from like GTA, and I was visiting a friend at school. So first date in Ottawa. Second date, I invite this motherfucker to Washington D.C. with me for a 4-day
Oh,
vacation.
Oh my god.
And I was telling my therapist like that, like I was just telling her about like the devolution of that relationship, basically. But she's like, you sound like the main character of a movie. And I was like, you know what, bitch? That's crazy.
Literally.
Literally, like my best friends, they always go, oh, we're your like secondary characters. You're the main character. They introduced me to a party this summer. They were like, this is our main character, Jill.
Oh my
It's
god.
like, guys,
It's the
like,
only introduction.
too much.
She
Too
literally
much.
told us, and we weren't even phased. We're like, that's literally facts. It's
Yeah.
facts.
Well, it's just like, I don't know. I'm just kind of like that person who like walks through life and like I'm just so involved in everything for no good goddamn reason.
Just you find yourself at the right place at the right time.
I do.
Always.
Yeah, I kind of waltz into it, and I'm like, this is crazy. Like,
You
but
know,
it'll be fun.
it's wild because you know what? Like even just growing up, I always felt like the total opposite. I felt like I was in the wrong place at the wrong time and so freaking misunderstood. I felt like I was always in the middle of the chaos, which is interesting because that is totally opposite. And what's interesting too is we're all Cancer.
Yeah.
So it's like
Yeah.
we have very similar experiences, but in such different but special ways.
Yeah, like we're all just kind of like on the same wavelength,
Yeah.
and like the vibe is there,
Yeah.
and like we're all like probably a little crazy from time to
Yeah.
time.
Oh, absolutely.
Very emotional. I feel like all of
Yeah.
us
Oh,
can
yeah.
relate.
From
to
the
that.
Cancer, yeah,
Yeah.
we're very
Definitely
emotional. Yeah.
Yeah, like I have like a good cry on the floor hugging my cat like
Yeah.
once a
Oh,
week.
once a week. Yeah, I know. I actually, funny enough, I was just thinking I don't cry as much. I mean, I used to always cry, like happy tears, sad tears, in between tears, tears for no
But,
good
yeah.
reason. But lately, I mean, I think I'm even less than once a week, which is just insane because I feel like
That's a record
that's
for
a
her.
trait. That's a trait for me. Always crying, no matter what.
Yeah.
I feel the same way. I feel like since even the past couple of years, I don't know if it has anything to do with the pandemic and just growing so much more because I feel like it has accelerated my growth, but just growing up, becoming an adult and doing my own thing, I feel like I've just realized things aren't as deep as it was before. At least for me personally, I just haven't been crying as much or as upset as much. I've just been, I don't know, it's just different now.
I totally get that. Like pandemic vibes was like literal like brutal hell, but I remember like going through like phases like I'd just like cry my eyes out for like weeks, and then I'd just be like vibing, like pretending like nothing's happening, just like shoving it all down under
Such
there.
a roller coaster, right?
Yeah, like literally roller coaster of emotions all the time.
Yeah.
But I remember like I was like, all right, like let's just squash all these emotions, like put them away, deal with them later. And I used to kind of do that, but I deal with it like once a week or like a couple times a month or whatever. But like I think I went like 8 months with just like no tears, like no overreacting, just like things would happen. I'd be like, cool,
Just bottle up.
brush it
though.
off. But like yeah, bottle it up, and then I had like a mental breakdown.
Oh Lord, we don't.
That's what I was. Yeah, I
You're
could sense it was going to
You were
that.
anticipating that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what's happening right now, and maybe that is what's happening with me. I'm just like, okay, let it be. I mean, I feel like, especially now, like, constantly in a time where things are really changing so quick and so fast, or I can think positively and think that I'm just a lot better at handling
Honestly.
all these ways now. So.
I think it's the latter.
I think so.
It's very easy to think that way, the more negative aspect, but it's fine to think that way and feel that way. But realistically, we're growing, and we've all been through so much, and of course, I feel like we're learning and growing, and that can be a good thing.
That's me. Let's put this on Do Not Disturb real quick.
Oh shit, are we recording?
Yeah.
And that right there is because we've had some crazy technical issues.
You'll hear about
so
one
long.
day.
It's been awesome. I love it.
Yeah.
I don't know what we're doing to make this happen, but like let's keep this up.
It's just the positive energy, right?
It is. It's the positive energy, and like you know what? Like I feel like we're all kind of like in a place where we're like, you know, big adults. We got like responsibilities and you know like shit that actually like matters, and we, you know, we're all trying to like launch this career in honestly like an overcrowded business. You know, and like an oversaturated, I guess would be a better word, but like there's like 1 billion agents per house in every city right now.
Honestly, it feels like a bunch of ants swarming over the same little piece of like mango on the ground. That's what the real estate industry feels like. And that's just the agents alone. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, like it's like an insanely saturated market, and like, you know, we want to like get into it, we're passionate about it, but it's like we're all kind of getting to this point where it's like, how do we hustle, how do we stand out?
Yeah.
You know, like how do we make this work for us? And like I think that alone, like getting into a career where, you know, you're not bringing home a paycheck every 2 weeks, and you are completely reliant on yourself as your own boss to just get the work done. Like, I think it just kind of forces you to get it together and grow up a little bit and like put all like the stupid petty drama aside.
100%.
Well, you know what? Exactly. Like, I think all of that was motivated from all of our shitty jobs growing up.
100%.
We were so driven. I mean, there's so many reasons we all got into real estate, and we can get into that in another episode, but I think it's just so interesting that all of these leadership skills that we learn, our ability to be self-sufficient, and just our management skills as well. It's just all collectively, all these skills we learned, I feel like we've all experienced it ourselves, which kind of made us gravitate towards this career. Is so interesting.
And we're all people who, like, all three of us are people who actually care about others. And the thing is, a lot of people, when they get into real estate, not to shade anybody or say anything negatively about anybody, you can't solely get into a career just because you want the money. That always only lasts for so long. I always think of a career, and I know we all do, as something long-term, something lifelong. And in order to be able to make that into a career, you have to genuinely love what you're doing. You have to genuinely feel like there's a reason behind what you're doing. And our reason is always ultimately helping others achieve their goals, achieve their financial freedom, and just being the experts to guide them along the way.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I feel like it's like so important, right? Like, no matter how much money you're making, if you don't love what you're doing, you're not going to want to get out of bed in the morning and do it. And like, ultimately, like, you know, like, you want to feel fulfilled in what you're doing. You want to feel like you're making some kind of impact, or like you're enjoying it. Like, you know, I've had like so many freaking jobs that, like, even though they were dead easy, like, I could barely drag myself there because I hated it. Like, it was just terrible. and you know, like, even though it was like the easiest job in the world, like, I had nothing to do, and it like paid me well, like, whatever. I'm like, I can't stand this. Like, and then I've had jobs where I love it, and even if it's like more grueling or whatever, like, there's, you know, more to put into it, like, I want to go in the morning. And like, that's how I feel about real estate, right? Like, it's just such like a fun job, you know, like, it's like, you can make your own schedule. You definitely need to hustle if you want to do well in it, but you know, like, you can do things kind of on your terms, how you would want to do it, and ultimately you get to help people, you know, make huge financial decisions, but like, do it right. And you know, like, help them achieve goals. And it just, like, it feels so nice, and you have fun while you're doing it. Like, you're doing something amazing for someone, and you're enjoying the process. Like, what more could you ask for?
Yeah, it's really awesome because you're helping people make such a big financial decision of their life. It's one of the biggest purchases people will ever make in their life, or even if it's just leasing, like, it's still important. People need to live somewhere.
I think what you said, and like, just the word home, everybody needs a home. Everybody has, I feel like having a home is a basic human right.
But I also feel like having a house is different than having a home.
Yeah,
you know,
totally.
Oh my gosh, like, it's not even just a feeling, or it's a combination of things. I think a lot of people have different needs and wants and things like that, and like you said, home is different than having a house, and not everyone will have the opportunity to feel that. And I feel like as a realtor, we'll be able to help determine what will be defined as a home for some people, and it's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, there's, you know, like, there's so much like love that goes into making that decision, and so much like pride and joy. I mean, unless you're like, you know, buying a rental property, like that kind of thing, but I mean, then that's going to become someone else's home, hopefully. So like, what would you guys say would be like your kind of dream home?
So I've always, for some reason, been so gravitated towards a green living room with a huge bookshelf, or just bookshelf walls and a fireplace, and then a dining room specifically with windows all around it, so like 360. And something I've always dreamed of since I was a kid was like a tree or some sort of plants, like greenery in the middle of the house, and kind of like a little greenhouse in the center of it that goes all the way to the top through the house. So it's like a little donut house, essentially.
I love that.
Yeah.
Although I watched a horror movie that had that, and like,
okay, yeah,
they're
true.
so cool. But this horror movie, they have one of those, and it like, It
Picked
turned
you
me
up.
off of actually wanting it for myself. But
Actually,
I love them.
I like horror movies. What's the name? I'll watch it.
It's When a Stranger Calls.
Was it good?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was young though, so it might not be that scary, but I was terrified. I was like 6. But what about you, Fatma?
Okay, so for me, first thing comes to mind right off the bat is water, a house by the water. And I think that's like a little bit about the Cancer in us. So by the water, super traditional home. I mean, maybe a little bit modern, but I don't crave that luxury feeling. I crave like that feeling we were talking about, going in and knowing I'm home. Like
super cozy.
cozy, yes, exactly. That's exactly the word. Cozy and huge kitchen, lots of space to entertain, have people over, host them, feed people, bake, cook for them. That's
And
honestly
we're
just,
gonna have our own bedroom, of course.
yeah, exactly. I'll have a
course.
bedroom for each guest that ever wants to come over. But yeah, just really cozy is, and by the water is the two main things that come to mind.
Yeah, for sure. I love that. For me, like, I've actually been thinking about this a lot recently. Because I'm like, either trying to be like hella successful or B, win the lottery.
Why not both?
Yeah, like
A and
ideally
B.
both, but but I actually know like exactly where I want to live. Like I know the plot of land I want.
Okay.
I love that.
Up in the side roads, like, you know, right by where I currently live actually, but I want to be like in like the country, but like still like close, like, you know, kind of like the like side roads area. Like I'm like 10 minutes from town, but like I'm not in it.
Oh, like Book Road.
Yeah, something like that. But I want like a ranch style bungalow. I
Oh,
want
I
it
love
to be
it.
fucking massive. But like not like absurd.
Yeah.
But like I want it to be pretty big. Like I want a lot of space, but like mama does not like stairs. And like honestly, I think the house I want would be like a custom build. I want to put like an in-law suite, but like almost like a duplex vibe where it has its own entrance.
Yeah.
Like, but just honestly somewhere to stick my mother when she's like old
Right?
and
Tell your
senile.
guests to fuck off
Yeah,
and not
literally.
go through your house.
Like, go live in a different place attached to my building, please. I want to put a full bar in the basement with like taps.
Nice.
That's like
I love
super
that.
important to me.
The server in you is gonna
Yeah, literally.
vibe the hell out.
I feel like you'll have tons of hockey nights.
Oh yeah, tons of hockey nights, and I really want like a big enough pond on my property that I could like take like a little paddle boat out on
Oh
it.
my gosh.
I've always wanted that. It is like a absolute must for
Must.
me. So I mean, like, I don't think I'm gonna find a property with a giant pond on it, but like I'll put one in. You know?
can make
Like,
one. Yeah, why not?
but yeah, I know exactly. Like I know where I want to live, and I want to tear down the house that's there and put in my dream home.
That's crazy. When you get that done one day, you'll be driving by and you'll be thinking back like, I've always known you were the one.
Literally, when I secure like $5 million to do this.
Well, you will. That's the thing. That's the power of manifesting. You
I
can literally
hope
get
so.
whatever you want.
I hope so. But yeah, I know, like, I honestly, like, I could design the interior right now. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it'll change, but I mean, you guys have been to my place. I love the, like, eclectic vibe.
Yeah.
I've got, like,
Yes.
that mirror wall. I've got, like, the pink velvet furniture, like, the whole shebang. And, like, I want to stick with that on the inside, but, like, still, like, cozy and
Yeah.
comfy. And then, like, dope sports bar in my basement.
I have
Nice.
faith in your designs.
Yeah.
I honestly think you should, if you have any idea of what you want, why not start sketching it out now? Because
Yeah.
that's another, like, you'll be able to
Just
manifest it in that way.
it, yeah.
Knowing exactly what you want, you'll be able
Yeah.
to draw it to you closer and sooner.
I know,
knows?
like, that's like the dream. Like 2 years from now, but probably not. But like,
Right?
you know, like if I could own a house by 25, like, you, Miss Ma'am.
Girl, you will. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
You absolutely will.
I mean, I'm sure
Yeah.
I'll own a house. I don't think I'll own that house. You
Baby
know, I think we
steps,
gotta-
girl. That's your dream
steps.
home.
We gotta like
The one you want to
start
retire
small.
And then get there.
I want to enjoy that shit when I'm young. Like, I want to be like 30 with like a full bar in
in.
my
Yeah,
basement.
retire young. I'm trying to retire by 30, girl. What are you
Oh my
talking about?
god, girl, I get so
You know-
bored.
You know what? This is actually interesting to think of, because being that we started working at a young age, what I always say to myself to keep myself going is that I started early, and I want my years of living to be like from when I'm like 40. Like I
Good,
feel like I'm
yeah.
gonna have a second life then, where it's gonna be like the fun, the
Yes.
exciting, that retired life at a little
Yeah.
bit of a younger age. But I think we deserve that because we did start
I
very
think
young.
we do.
Start working early and stop working early.
Oh, exactly.
Right? Like you start working at 14. I'm gonna stop working at like 34. I give myself 20 years to stop working. And you know what? Financial freedom is real. And realistically, we're probably not gonna stop working. We're gonna just continue doing things that we love. But that doesn't mean we're not gonna
like
do
I know
things
I'd get bored
or
to
work.
death without work. Honestly, like I haven't, like you guys know, I haven't been at like my primary job. I've got multiple right now, but I haven't been at my primary job in 4 days, and I'm going crazy. Like I'm so excited to go to work tomorrow because I've just been like doing nothing.
Oh well, her week was still crazy though.
Yeah, my week was crazy in like a social way, but like my days were nothing. I was like sitting in bed with my cat. It was nice, but like I need work to like be motivated. So like I don't know if I could ever honestly even stop. Like I think I would just like slow down and focus on just what I love doing. But like I need something on the go.
Exactly. And I feel like I feel like that's what we're gonna get to. We've already started exploring and already have so much knowledge on what we like and what we don't, so that by the time we're there, we're just focusing, like you said, on the things we love, enjoying life to the fullest. I mean, we still are now, but it'll just look a little different.
Yeah, we're grinding it out while enjoying the process.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, a huge indicator that I feel this financial freedom coming. I mean, I'm still young and I still have 10 years until my ideal retirement age. But I always told myself I want to become financially free and start writing that book I always wanted to write. Yeah. And for years, past like maybe 5 years that I've been actively trying to write a book, I finally found my plot. I have my outline essentially.
Oh my god, no spoilsies.
No, you guys, listen. We're gonna be on
the back cover.
Yeah. So I'm like, it's crazy to me because I always imagined myself writing a book and publishing it when I was already financially free. But the fact that that process is already beginning for me gives me a lot of faith and hope and motivation. So super excited. Anything is possible, guys.
That is exciting.
I think that's like the moral of the story. Like stay motivated and just manifest what you want and you will get there. You can achieve whatever you want to achieve if you just work your ass off and do it.
100%. It's all about consistency, hard work, believing in yourself. As cheesy as that sounds, I feel like that is truly the recipe for success.
Yeah, absolutely.
Honestly, and also manifesting. I feel like with the new age spiritual like trend that has been going on, a lot of people have been overseeing the fact that they don't need all these crazy tools and I don't know, everything that has been advertised people need to manifest, when all you need is yourself and your thoughts. You have to have faith and confidence in yourself to realize that what you truly want is kind of like a package in the mail that's coming. You know it's coming, you just don't know how big it is and you don't know when it's going to arrive, but you have that faith that it's coming. And that's sort of what the feeling of manifesting something feels like. And I feel like when you focus on what you truly want and you have that feeling towards it, it's going to come to you no problem. But you also have to remember you have to put in the work. So you have to clear your porch, make sure there's enough space because you don't know how big the package is.
Yeah, exactly. And I think we've had this conversation before between us. Like I've told you guys, my mom, she's very like, she just lets things come as they come, right? Like she's not want to plan, not want to get organized, whatever. And it always drives me crazy that she has like no plan. And I'm like, Mom, like how do you not do it? And she's like, I just manifest it. She's like, if I'm having a slow couple months and like I need some money or whatever, I want to buy something or like I want to like go on a trip or like I just feel like I want to like work. She's like, I just ask the universe for more business and it comes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm totally right there with manifestation. And for me, it's just different because I manifest in the form of prayer. I mean, when I pray, I feel the most at peace. I feel like I get a chance to disconnect from the world and just talk to God and really share my thoughts, my hopes, like everything that I'm going through. And I always do feel like that is just always setting me up for success because no matter what's happening, kind of like your mom, I'm just putting all my trust into God. And I'm just like, whatever is going to be is meant to be. It will be. And I just got to trust the process. And I think we were talking about that before. Trust the process and know that it's going to be okay and good things will happen.
Yeah, I think that's like that's the main thing. It's like stay positive, like you can see the light at the end of the tunnel, and like you will get there. Everything is going to work out how it's meant to work out.
100%.
Absolutely. With the law of attraction too, I definitely think it's very relevant. Like even just at a young age, I grew up reading and watching the movie The Secret. I don't know if you guys ever watched that.
My mom is literally obsessed with
that. Yeah. I didn't understand it when I was a kid, where it's like, oh, you put a lottery ticket, you stare at it when you go to sleep. But I don't know. I'm like, okay, it makes sense realistically, but you have to have realistic wishes with the current situation in your life, and you don't want to exceed what you feel like you can't handle, if you know what I mean. You want to be realistic with what you can handle in your current life, in your current situation, and just make sure it's something that will make you happy and feel safe and comfortable.
And you have to have good intentions about it too, I feel, as well, like being realistic and not being greedy with your wants, and not also just always thinking that what you should get what you want. Sometimes you don't get the things you want because you're not able to handle them, and they're not actually right for you. So you have to also trust that process and know that as long as your intentions are pure with what your needs and what your wants are in life, you are going to get there one way or another. The road might look different than what you want it to look like, but you will get there.
100%. It's so interesting because I used to say this in another analogy as well. It's true. Like when you're trying to manifest something or you desire something, you have to be a little self-aware in what you can handle. Like for instance, you want a specific job. To be realistic with the job, if it's something that's completely out of the industry you usually work for and out of your skill set, you have to look at and evaluate your life and yourself and your skill set. Will I be able to achieve this job? Even if I land an interview, will they actually hire me? Do I have the skill sets that are required to be able to handle this position? Even if I am hired, will I be happy? Will I be able to succeed? Even if you truly want this specific position, that's fine. You can get it. But you have to understand that maybe you need to put a little bit of work in, a little bit of initiative to get that going.
Like maybe you need to go back to school to be able to achieve your, like your dream career or whatever. Like maybe you need to work on like certain skills, or like you need to get experience elsewhere first. Like I think people think when you talk about like the law of attraction and manifestation that like it's a instant, you instantly reap your rewards.
Yeah, the reward is never going to be instantaneous. It's always a work in progress, and people have to understand that they have to put in the background work. They have to train for whatever it is they need. They have to get the proper education, and ultimately they have to make sure that they are being true to themselves, understanding what they're wishing for, and having the right intentions goes a long way.
Yeah, I think it always goes back to intentions and good karma, and just like being a good person, and good things will come to you.
I think that we can actually, even though this is so abrupt, why don't we talk about something we all love, which is our fur babies.
Oh my god, I definitely think my fur baby's the cutest.
Okay, let's leave that up to the audience.
100%. We actually have a post up, and it's got all 3 pets, but it doesn't say whose pet is whose, so we'll let you decide, and we'll also let you know, let you determine whose pet is the cutest.
We'll put it up on the screen here. You guys can also leave it in the comments below.
It is definitely going to be mine.
Okay,
we'll
sure.
We'll also link our Instagram for you guys.
And our TikTok.
And our TikTok and Facebook as well. Yeah.
So you can check us out on there. And thank you so much for tuning in, listening, watching, wherever you are.
And hopefully you'll come back again next time.
Not hopefully, they will for sure.
You will come back.
Or else.
You're coming back.
We're going to have lots of fun stories and interesting stuff, and actually some pretty controversial topics perhaps, and a lot of...
And then maybe some fun little guest speakers. And you know what?
Oh, for sure we will.
I mean, I know this isn't, the only
we have
thing
a
we're
wait
gonna
list.
talk about, but we are real estate agents, so we're going to give you some market update. Well, disclaimer, I'm not a real estate agent yet, in like 2 months, but these gals are. So so come check us out for anything real estate update wise as well.
Yeah, 100%. Thank you so much again.
Yeah, thanks so much for listening, everybody. All right, ciao.
Bye.
Take care.